Hello. Hey Adam, how are you?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm good. How are you?
Oh, it's a very busy day today and it's getting very hot here in Australia.
Very hot, man. It's been scorcher where I am, so at least I'm not the only one suffering.
Nah, it's tomorrow almost 40 degrees here in Adelaide. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yikes, yikes.
So, what's the topic? What are we doing?
Well, so today I think I wanted to follow up with a few of the things you and I were discussing offline. For those of you watching, like obviously Marcus and I are buddies, and we talk offline and we chit chat back and forth. And I actually would like to follow up on your G4 to see if you've broken that in, and just to see if you've had any changes of opinions lately. So how is all that going first and foremost?
Um, G4 is good. So after break-in period, the panel looks much better, but it's still not on a level where I would say it's high end. I think it's not as close as so the G2 is better in uniformity, my opinion. Then of course the
Really?
S95C, and then the G4. So it's not on a level where I would send it back or whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. It's really just when you look at 5% test pattern or 10%. So when it comes to 35, 40, whatever, then all the panels actually what I have are more or less the same. You can't
Okay.
see any issues anymore. So doing normal content, viewing normal content, watching normal content, playing games, there's no issue at all. No issue.
Okay. So at this stage, you are saying your QD OLED is a better panel. You're happier with that.
Look, in terms of the uniformity, yes, probably, but in terms of the rest, I'm not quite sure yet. Okay, so the
Okay.
G4 is just amazingly bright without losing colors, without doing anything wrong. Okay, and that's out of the box. Okay, so this is really amazing.
Interesting. Do you think you've had enough time yet, or do you think you still need more time? Like it's still only been what, 2 weeks now?
I think it's just 2 weeks probably. So the thing is I need more time because I hardly have time to test actually. So all what I'm doing actually is breaking in the TV and working on the TV. Okay, and also
Okay.
sometimes watch a little bit HDR material or whatsoever, and that's why I know it's just an amazing TV. So I need a little bit more time to really compare. And what I like to do is actually really do a comparison between my LG CX, the G2, and the G4 in terms of
Okay.
brightness and picture quality.
That would be a significant difference, don't you think?
Oh yeah, especially with the CX. I mean, the CX is a great TV, but it is now 4-5 years old,
Mm,
and we have now it's not comparable anymore. Sorry.
interesting. And in terms of playing games and things like that, have you had much, like aside from just testing, have you had any just game time for enjoyment? Because that's very different
Oh,
in my opinion.
I mean, look, while I'm testing, I'm playing actually. So it's not really playing, but I'm testing.
Okay.
But I found, and somehow Classy actually confirmed this, I found the G4 sharper when it comes to gaming. So I don't know if this is really a coincidence. So I started playing Ratchet and Clank because this is my to-go test game actually in terms of
Okay.
HDR, in terms of picture quality and stuff like that. And then I found, oh, it looks just amazing. Okay, let's say like this. And then I talked to Glassy, a little bit video chat and so on, and he said yes, they improved actually the motion handling on the G4. We can't repeat what he said because I completely forgot. Actually, he explained it, but it's not
That's a
just a
shame.
coincidence. Okay, so
Okay.
but still, I have to say that I tried, of course, True Motion on the G4 in terms of the 120 or even 144 interpolation or motion improvement. The problem is still Game Motion Plus on the Samsung S95C is just better because there's almost no increase in input lag. I can't feel anything.
Okay.
You just turn on
Wow.
Game Motion Plus, you have a perfectly stable, sharp picture. On the G4, you need to use any picture mode outside the game mode. And then you add, unfortunately, you need to disable ALLM, to get this actually true motion done, and it's just adding input lag. Okay, it's not, but it's not as good as Game Motion Plus.
Interesting. I'm just getting some latency issues. Am I coming through okay?
Now you're back, I think, or maybe not.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Just getting some latency issues. Maybe you can answer some questions.
Yeah. Okay, let me just, we have here Tarnok actually is writing hello, and he's also writing, in a few hours, my G4 will arrive. Yeah, congratulations. What size actually? This is important. So I just have the G4 in 65 inch. Just 65 inch, okay? But for me, as you can see, this is enough, because here's my table, literally 1.5 meters away from the G4. Absolutely enough. But again, I enjoyed 83 inch at Adam's place, and this is just bath. You're getting just
yeah, that was
face.
what I was going to ask you. Do you think that plays a significant difference in? Let me rephrase that. See, I don't mind saying when I don't know something, so I guess I'm just kind of asking questions if people in the chat or yourself know. But I would assume that each panel at its different size would be the same. I know a bigger panel means, a 5%, 10% window is bigger on every panel, but wouldn't they relatively be all the same performance-wise, or do you feel like the larger panels are just, I don't know, do they produce differently?
So, the thing is, as soon you have a bigger panel, it's better experience, in my opinion. So even your let's say your C1 was darker than my G2 from the measurements, you know what I mean? It was just a better experience because you have a very, very big picture. So, and the G4 was so bright. I don't think that my G4 in 65 inch is brighter than your G4. I don't think so. And even then, it's just 100 nits or whatsoever. But because you have such a big picture, it is just more brightness, in general. It is just better.
So that leads the question then. It's like, isn't bigger better? Just because, as I said, like a 10% window on a 65 inch and then that same 10% window on an 83 inch is going to be that, like, obviously several times larger. So that same brightness impact is going to be extremely multiplied. And so I'm just not sure. Like, it's,
I think if you're really just looking for gaming and movies, then bigger is better. The thing what I found is, because I moved actually also closer to my 65 inch, because it would be exactly the same as having an 83 and sitting far away. But I found the problem is because I'm working on the screen, you know what I mean? It's just like I'm doing this the whole time, it's not good. But for gaming and movies, I would upgrade. Absolutely. No doubt about that. Because you just sit there and you just enjoy. And most of the time, the action is in the middle of the screen. But because the screen is so big, you get such, just immerse into the picture. It's fantastic.
That's one thing I absolutely love, is just that immersion, as like I have a 100-inch TV and things like that. And I just, particularly for sports, I always go for the biggest screen, not the best, if that makes sense. But I think once you get used to immersion and being in front of large displays, it's very hard to go back. But have a question here for you, Marcus. Ghost Ryu 666. I have a B4 and I think HDRG is sometimes dim. My eyes adjusted, but should I get a C4 in the future, since your HDRG settings in games are targeting the C4?
Okay, so it's targeting the G4, not the C4. But I wouldn't upgrade to. So if you're really talking about the C4, there's no point to upgrade, in my opinion. The G4 probably, but I would nah.
I wouldn't upgrade, man. Not your B4. It's a 2024 model.
Yeah. HDRG is always dimmer compared to dynamic tone mapping on, always. And what I found is now we have actually another setting on the G4, which is this brightness enhancer, I forgot it. You can change between highlights. You can actually push highlights or push the whole picture, and it's even pushing the brightness a little bit higher. So the EUTF or whatever is most likely not correct anymore. Of course not, but it's just giving you a little bit more brightness. So the G4 is really bright, but this is, HDRG is always a problem. Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, Marcus, because I do remember when you were at my place and we were playing around with the G4, the 83-inch version. I actually had, I didn't have the G4 in HDRG. I had it in, remind me, what's that mode?
Tone mapping on.
Tone mapping, yeah. So the TV was brighter. And Marcus, the first thing he did was, no, HDRG. So he dialed it back down. And what I learned was, a lot of the games, if they're not mastered very well, HDRG will even look dim on a G4. So I've found a lot of games that haven't had a lot of development time. They haven't put in all the right things to get HDR correct. Yeah, I often in my G4 go to turn the brightness up. So I've found a few select games that just look absolutely pristine with HDRG. So it was like kind of a learning lesson for me. So just to kind of give you a bit of, I don't know, advice from someone with an 83-inch G4, there are some games I still find it dim on. So, but maybe I'm just spoiled with the brighter panel, and I don't know. But yeah, it's just good to keep things in perspective.
It makes sense. If a game is not well optimized in HDR, and we have many, then dynamic tone mapping on will just lift the dark picture all the time, and it appears brighter. It's not correct anymore, but it wasn't correct before. So yeah, dynamic tone mapping on can help a lot.
Yeah. C1, is it still good?
Yeah, of course C1 is still good. Of course.
Man, yeah.
The CX is still good. I just need to sell one TV. That's what my wife told me. The boss told me I have to get
one
rid
in,
of
one
TV,
out.
and the CX has to go. That's it. I'm not selling the G2. The G2 is it's absolutely fantastic, my G2. And I have a brand new panel in, actually. So I'm not selling it.
Okay. That's cool. I still have an 83-inch C1, and man, I still go to that TV quite often and watch movies, and I'm still very happy with that. No need to upgrade, in my opinion. So, Marcus, you will have another question. I actually have some diagrams tonight. I've prepared. I've actually been doing a little bit of research, and I'm hoping people in the chat will be able to help. I don't want to say answer the question, because I feel like I've answered it, but I've kind of approached LCD panels and pixel responses, and I've been trying to understand the relation between refresh rate and pixel response and how that affects ghosting. So before I get my diagrams and mathematical equations up, did you want to get to any questions?
Yeah, we can do this. So you know what? I have a bloody crow in front of my window. It's so annoying.
I thought I could hear it, but I thought it was in my house. Okay,
no, they're here, and I think they know that I'm live streaming, because usually I'm not here. Yeah. Because now let's go to a couple of questions or comments about what we have.
Sure.
They have, but so many already. So this one here first, he finally called a live. Hey, welcome to the stream. And what do we have here? Would you recommend using Game Optimizer picture mode for the C4, B4 when gaming, or a different mode with some adjustments? So I'm always recommending the Game Optimizer, because it's out of the box. That's what you need. There are options to use, actually, let's say cinema mode or whatever, with ALLM.
Did not know that.
Yeah, enabled, and you have the same input lag, but you can have a better picture in sometimes, because I think I'm not quite sure C4 or B4 don't have the issue, I think, anymore with the gaming mode where the colors are reduced and brightness reduced. I think so, but the G4 doesn't. So the G4 is absolutely outstanding in SDR and HDR in game mode. But to make it easier, I would just recommend the game mode. If you're happy with the picture quality or whatever with the picture, go for it. And this one, yes, it's some of the. Oh, sorry, you clicked.
You're right. The iconizer. So just when I was going to upgrade to the G4, so I'd like to know a little bit more about that. If you can follow up later, is that you've heard something and you're not going to? Because if you can follow up on that that one there. So, Marcus, there's plenty here for you
Yeah.
to choose from.
This one, is it summer for you? Yes, we are going into summer in Australia.
It is
Absolutely.
hot.
It is. Yeah, it's getting good. Good morning from Germany. Would you recommend to use BT2020 for HDR gaming instead of P3 for the G4 or for the Samsung? I would not recommend that to use. So on the LG OLED, don't use anything than auto. Okay, just leave it on auto. LG works absolutely flawless with detecting the color gamut. Samsung is a different story. With Samsung, I would actually recommend to use BT2020 and reduce the color setting to I think it's 25 in the standard setting, and reduce it to 15 to 18, depending what you like. That's pretty good out of the spot then for BT2020. But that's something what you can maybe, old mate.
Yeah, look, so the question is for those who are listening. So old mate has a question about the upcoming OLED. What is it? How long until it comes out? Should we wait? Will it be a game changer? A lot of questions. I don't claim to be an expert in it. I have a very elementary understanding of it. Just so what it is, and chat, correct me if I'm wrong. So at the moment in OLED, we have the RGB subpixels. At the moment, the R and the G, so the red and the green, are using a phosphorescent chemical to produce the color. Blue is not. It is using an older technology. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but the OLED people are discussing, which they are saying that finally the blue subpixel will be basically brought up into the same chemical structure as all the other ones. How long till it comes out? I've been hearing about OLED and reading about OLED for at least 3 years now. I remember 2 years ago, the prediction was it would be on the G4. And then basically before the G4 came out, it was like being pushed back years away. I would not wait for it. If you are dying to buy a TV, I think you should get something now at the end of this 2024 cycle, unless you're cashed up. That's a different story. Will it be a game changer? I can't say for sure, but it will improve. From what I understand, it will improve efficiency, and it will provide extra brightness. If LG are using that, my question was originally, will that allow LG to remove the W subpixel so we can have a true RGB panel? Maybe that'll help them catch up to QD OLEDs. These are all questions I have, but I don't think it's worth waiting. I think you should just get something if you're ready to go. If you can wait a couple more years, I do think, in my opinion, from what I've read, you probably will be waiting at least 3 years before you see anything. Yeah. But I could be wrong. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, no point to wait, actually. We have a super chat. Thank you very much, Dennis. Picked up my 65-inch S90D today. Yeah, congratulations. $1,200, probably
awesome.
US dollars, I would say, because that's a very good price for Australia.
Yeah,
but that's good. So I'm following Ariel at the moment with his journey, actually, in terms of his Samsung TVs, and yeah.
He's a character, man. He's so funny.
Yeah. But I had, just hang on, this one here. Anthony Stefan, I currently use a CX 65-inch. During Black Week, I bought a G4 77-inch for a very good price. Will I be blown away, or should I be worried because of our panel issues? You will be blown away, absolutely. Coming from the CX to the G4 and then stepping up in size, wow. But give it some time, okay? But give it some time, I would say 50 hours, watch full screen HDR material, and you're good to go. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Marcus, but I would just dial it back a little bit. I don't like to tell people they'll be blown away, because when I went from my C1 to my G4, I thought I was going to be blown away, and I wasn't. Am I happy? Absolutely. Is it a better TV? Without a doubt. But I wasn't blown away. So, but I do think you're going to be very impressed. And exactly what Marcus said, going from a 65 to a 77, going up is always a very welcome
I think that's
change.
The next thing, maybe G6.
You just need to widen the room a little bit, make it a bit wider.
No, I just need to, there's easily spot for 83-inch. I just need to switch. No one is It's getting dusty anyway, this thing.
You just got to wait for you divorce your wife, and then that's when you
then
do
I
it.
don't have money left. So that's how do you rate? Oh, wait, let's do this one.
Sorry,
first.
my mistake.
How do you rate the Samsung S90D to the G4 for gaming? I can't because I don't have the S90D. I have the S95C, and this is a brilliant gaming TV. The S95C, the S95C, but the same counts for the G4. The same counts for the G4. But I have to do a little bit more testing probably over the weekend, and maybe next week I work on my video because it's a lot to test actually. And then I will come to a summary actually which one, G4 or maybe the S95C right now, is better for me. Let's see.
Yeah, I can't speak to the S90D because I don't own a QD OLED, but all I can say is a lot of the guys who really know what they're talking about, like Classy and Tech with KG. KG was on a stream with us once, and I was picking his brain about it, and it's quite interesting. And I've heard this from a lot of different sources and different people. The QD OLED appears to be better for gaming, but the G4 appears to have the edge when it comes to content consumption. But however, like they are pretty much neck and neck. We're talking maybe 1 or 2% better for gaming, and then 1 or 2% better for movies. So either way. Yeah. I think you're going to be very happy.
It really doesn't matter if you go for the S90D or the S95D or the S95C or G4. You have always a top TV. It really doesn't matter.
Absolutely.
So Kyle, thank you very much for the super chat. I decided to get a Samsung S90D 42-inch WOLED. Oh, those are the WOLEDs. As it seems to have better marks on Artings than LG C4 to use with my PlayStation 5 Pro. I got for free. You got a PlayStation 5 Pro for free.
Well done.
So they're so desperate to get them out, or what? Now, okay, this is interesting because I mean, at the end, it's a WOLED panel, so you're not. You don't have any benefit or advantage from the QD OLED, but I mean, at some point, if they have better rating, maybe. I don't know.
It's interesting. I don't know why you would have chosen Samsung if it was a WOLED. I just would have gone with the C4 because I would imagine it's the same panel. It would be a LG source WOLED panel, wouldn't it? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Look, either way, man. Yeah, congratulations. That's great. I'm sure you'll be happy with it.
Protein milk. Okay, I bought a 98-inch TV QLED, 100 for the TCL, $2,000. So this is just a bargain, huh? It is the best TV I have bought. OLEDs are way too expensive for me, unfortunately. Yes, we talked about this in the last live stream with about money, about expensive TVs, and this is 100-inch, almost $2,000.
Yeah. Stick around, protein milk. I'm guessing that's how you say it. I'm going to bring up a topic soon about this particular issue. So this may be relevant to you, especially with the 144 hertz panel. So let's keep going.
We have this one. Do you offer any TV settings for the S90C on your channel? So I don't have the S90C. No, I'm sorry. I can't do it. Even the S95C is probably very similar, but it doesn't have the same brightness. So no, I can't. What's this one? Thank you. It's for the S95C77. What is the answer from, or where is this referring to? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But I mean, this is S95C 77-inch. Oh my God. Pretty good. No doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
This one here. Edvardovitz. I literally never watched on one of my OLED screens, B7CX and 95GS monitor. I never thought it looks too dim. Nothing HDRG and not in any other mode. People really should check their eyes. Look, then I need to check my eyes as well. Because when I got the CX, so the problem is with HDR. Yeah, no, that's how it is. So 700 nits is not enough to properly show all the HDR content. And the reason is very simple. So let's just watch Stranger Things. There are a couple of scenes where it plays outside. You have a sunny day and it plays outside. So you use HDRG if you, whatever, or dynamic tone mapping off, sorry. No HDRG, it's the same dynamic tone mapping off, and it looks dim. And the reason is because the CX is just not bright enough to actually display this at the moment. So you need, or I need to use dynamic tone mapping on to have actually the impression of a bright day. That's how it is, you know what I mean? And the same counts for games, you know? Yeah, it's not about pure brightness. I agree with you, the CX is bright enough to watch, no doubt about that. But when you watch something, you have to feel, no, this is not right. You know, we're on a beach right now, it's noon. Why does the sand doesn't look bright? You know what I mean? So this is that's the problem. At least my
People
problem.
should check their eyes. Yeah. It is interesting because, as I've mentioned, I've had the C1. I also have a G177 and I have the G4. And quite often I will switch rooms. And so when I'm watching, say, an episode of something that in HDR on my G4, and then maybe the second episode I might go to bed and watch on my G1, I can notice the difference in the specular highlights. Like when there's like a small something on the screen that's really bright, and I'm like, oh man, I can see how much more punchier that was on the G4. So yeah, I think it's relative. If that's kind of where, you know, the C4 and the B4 and you're happy with that kind of level,
Yeah,
you know, you don't know what you're missing. When you start seeing super bright highlights on the high end TVs, that's when you will start going, maybe I am missing some detail here.
Yeah, but so in general with the G4 now, it's in some games it's still the same issue. You know, if the games are not mastered in a very good way and they're not considering HDRG, then it looks too dim.
Sure. So I was talking about content, but you're right. I went off track. Yeah, I was talking about TV shows. But yeah, sorry, Marcus, you're correct.
Yeah, but that's fine. That's fine. But this is the same issue. It's not an issue with the TV. It's, well, let's say like this. It is not an issue really with the TV because the G4 is bright enough actually in terms of what I would consider at some point it is enough, you know, because it's the same with the S95C what I have. I can't actually watch HDR movies when the light is turned off because it's too bright at some point if you have proper mastered material. So I can't use, for an example, I can't use active during the night, and I'm tuning down actually the EOTF curve as well a little bit.
Wow.
Just to make it a little bit darker, because sometimes, you know, sometimes they're flashing with brightness suddenly, you know, because a new scene or whatever comes up, it's just too much.
Don't you find putting it into filmmaker mode or cinema mode reduces that brightness down a little bit?
No, because it's always the maximum brightness is just, you know, and the weird thing is between a filmmaker and movie mode on the Samsung in terms of picture quality, there's no difference. The only difference is really the I think in cinema mode, they're activating tone mapping on, and in the filmmaker mode it's off because of filmmaker mode.
Yeah, because filmmaker mode, I believe, is on most TVs the most accurate, the creator's intention type of thing, where I prefer the movie mode because it does a little bit of like motion smoothing, just a touch, but yeah, each to their own. Everything PS5 Pro. Good morning, friends. Hope you guys are having an amazing day today, and thank you so much for doing that collab video. It was awesome. I think he's talking about the one we did together, I'm assuming.
I'm really sure, and I'm posting a link right now. You should watch this. You have to watch this. We post the stream now because the video is just, how long was the video? 27 minutes. So we see you again in 27 minutes. No,
I tell you something funny, and if you guys haven't seen it, please check it out. I'd appreciate it. Marcus and I spent a lot of time doing this video, and what I find really funny is this video. Marcus flew down to Sydney and, you know, spent the weekend here, and we did a whole bunch of stuff. That video, the live stream we did last week, has more views than the video we spent like tons of money and time on. So it is very YouTube's a brutal game, but part 2 will be coming out next week. So that's where, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil what goes on, but if you haven't seen it, please go and check that out. But thank you. Everything PS5 Pro. There are more coming.
Yeah, I had really fun. I had really fun.
It was awesome.
Okay, so this one is a good comment. So low to high. When I had my 77C1, it would make me squint in a dark room. It can happen. And a dark room. Yeah. So, and this is actually how you should watch content or play games, because you don't want to have any you don't want to have any distraction or whatsoever, in terms of light or in terms of mirroring in the screen and something like that. Okay, but I noticed the issue, especially when you're tired, after a long day.
In my theater room, when my Samsung TV failed, I actually had my 83-inch C1 in there, and I did notice it was a little bit dim, but that room can get a lot of natural light. And now I've put that into a completely dark room, and I find it plenty bright in a dark room. So I absolutely understand that.
So now this makes sense. He was referring to the S95C 77-inch for the BT2020 HDR gaming question. Yeah, use BT2020 on the S95C, but reduce the color setting to 18 or 15, whatever you like better. Okay, so I mean, it will be not perfect, in terms of accuracy, but it's better, because the Samsung has issues with sometimes detecting the color information or the tone mapping information, or whatever you call it, unfortunately.
I'd like to jump to this one. Do you guys use Apple TV 4K streaming box with these new OLEDs? New TV OS is so bad. I'm assuming you're talking about the Apple TV OS. I love Apple TV. I have a combination of Samsung, TCL, some cheap brands, and LGs around my house, and I basically want one interface, one remote for every TV. My family and I love Apple TV.
Has a lot.
I have a lot of TVs. I do. It's probably not good, but man, I know Marcus doesn't, and I found that very, very curious when I first asked him about it. So you're not so big fan. I remember there was a reason.
So when I bought the Apple thingy thing, because I read it has the best picture quality, and this is what I like, So I decided between NVIDIA Shield and Apple TV, and I went for Apple TV. So in terms of user friendly,
User
whatever,
interface.
Apple TV is great. Absolutely. I mean, they're smart, they're smart people. But when I watched some content and you had a dark scene or whatsoever, I had a lot of bending and a lot of noise in the picture. And after testing, I found it's the Apple box. So I removed the app. But this was years ago. So there's for sure maybe now a different Apple box. There's maybe now a different firmware and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is one thing I absolutely love about Apple TV, because I do have a range of TVs, and some of them have the Google OS operating system built in. And a lot of these TVs, they just don't get updated because they have forked the Google OS. So they're not just getting these vanilla updates that Google are putting out. So each brand has to kind of get the security patches and do all that stuff. At least with Apple, it's like patched all the time. The firmware comes out, they come out regularly. So in terms of what you were saying, Marcus, I would challenge you to perhaps consider trying an Apple TV box.
I will at some point for sure, because it can't be that the Apple box is worse than an internal app. I mean,
it would be all over the internet if people were having that same problem, because they are so far and wide. But I thought maybe we could jump onto these things I wanted to show this evening, and while we're kind of close to the top of the questions, because this might actually bring some more questions. So I'm going to share this window. Okay, so I decided I wanted to understand more about LCD TVs, because one of the people earlier in the chat said they purchased a 98-inch. I'm assuming it's a TCL with 144 hertz refresh rate. So now that I'm sitting and living on OLEDs all the time, going to my 100-inch TV, which doesn't have a 120 hertz refresh rate, I can see ghosting and blurring from the pixel response. So I went into ChatGPT and I had a very long conversation. And if you guys haven't used ChatGPT, it is amazing. So I was asking ChatGPT about the calculation and the relation to pixel response times and refresh rates. So let me explain. And if anyone has anything to add or correct me on, please feel free. I'm still learning, because the problem is we're getting these big TVs now, and the refresh rates are getting bigger. So we're hearing now, so we've gone from 60 to 120. Now the new TVs this year are doing 144, and apparently there's another one, a higher frame rate next year. Marcus, what was the frame rate they're pushing, or they're saying they're going to push?
I mean, we have 360, 480 already.
Just for normal TVs, but yeah, regardless. So we'll just focus on this. So yeah, so I was talking to ChatGPT. So it's basically saying to get a good picture from an LCD TVs, it says to avoid motion blur and ghosting, pixel transitions need to occur faster than the frame times. So a response time of 6 to 8 milliseconds is typically sufficient for most 120 hertz displays, but 5 milliseconds or lower is optimal for clearer motion. So we don't have that problem with OLEDs because OLED's pixel response times are essentially instantaneous or next to nothing. So that's why when we move around on fast twitch games, the picture is just buttery smooth because you are getting like pretty much every frame is showing in its entirety. So I go, okay, so one of the things, as I said, most people with an LCD TV with high refresh rates, they will notice smearing and blurring. So I said, okay, why this matters. But I went to, if the TV is refreshing at 144 hertz, what pixel response time would I need to maintain accuracy? Because obviously that squashes the room that we have in order to get clear frames. So it's saying to maintain accuracy on a 144 hertz panel, the pixel time needs to be basically 7 milliseconds or less. So as you can see the calculation, as the TV refreshes 144 times per second or 144 hertz, each frame time you get 6.94 milliseconds per frame time. So I guess this is something for a bit more of the geeks and the nerds like us.
Something for Ariel.
Well, yeah. So this is where this is, as I said, I'm still learning, but this has really piqued my interest because then how do you determine what the pixel response is? Because I was looking at upgrading this 86 inch to a 98 inch, right? And this actually has the one behind me, a 120 hertz panel. It's a crappy backlit, nothing special TV. But when I play 120 hertz, like I do see smearing and ghosting. So as I said, went into ChatGPT and I'm like, okay, this actually brings a really interesting point, at least for me, as that now that TVs are starting to show higher and higher refresh rates, we need, particularly with LCD TVs, you need to understand what the pixel refresh rate is because they could start bringing out 240 hertz TVs. Hey, TCL, new $2,000 98 inch 240 hertz panel. But can you imagine how low the pixel response time would be? And this is where they start getting you and tricking people up. They say 144 hertz, but the pixel response time might be 8 milliseconds or more. So that means you are going to get a higher refresh rate display, but it's going to look like crap. So is that making sense what I'm explaining, or
it does make sense? But we need to add here, I think, because so when we're talking about this pixel response time, I think your value right now is from on and off, you know, from 0 to 100. And most of the time, this is not needed, you know, because when you play a game, it's always bright. You know what I mean? It's not that suddenly you go into, you know, you have a dark picture, and then the next time you have a bright picture. So that's why when the pixel response time is much, much faster on LCDs, but I'm not sure talking how much.
But you understand, like the LCD technology, because the pixels are slower than OLED.
Yeah.
When you're playing 144 hertz and you're moving around looking, say you're playing Call of Duty, it's obviously you're going to see that smearing and blurring. And that's what I'm kind of getting at. So it's something I don't think a lot of people are talking about. I haven't seen anyone else bring this issue up because everyone's talking about this is kind of what happens with these TVs. Everyone's throwing these buzzwords at you. Hey, 144 hertz, HDR, this and that. And we kind of discussed in one of our videos, just because a TV has HDR on the box doesn't mean it's going to show HDR correctly. And this is kind of what I can see happening with TV display panels now. One of the comments old mate said down the bottom, shouldn't VRR correct the issue? No, it's got nothing to do with VRR. It's got everything to do with pixel response times. So let's dial it back. So, and as I said, please correct me if I'm wrong. So if I go back to 120 hertz, So let's just say you've bought that 98-inch TCL and the pixel response time is 9 milliseconds because it's a cheaper TV. They're not going to put their best gear into it. It might have a 120 hertz panel. So even though your TV can refresh at 120 hertz, the pixels aren't fast enough to give you a clear image. So when you move around and look at fast moving objects, that's when you're going to see smearing and blurring. So as I said, I'm kind of new to this. I just kind of started diving down this rabbit hole, but I found this very interesting. So as I said, when you get to those, how can I fix this, Marcus? What did I do here?
So for an example, the QN95B, which I had back then, that's LCD top end back then, has actually a pixel response time. So from 0 to 100 or on off, 7.8 milliseconds. Now I lost it. Where is it? 7.8 milliseconds, which is not bad. I mean, compared to OLED, this is, I don't know how many times slower, because I think OLED has a millisecond or 0 point something.
It's like 0.1 milliseconds. So OLED is essentially instantaneous.
Yeah.
So let me bring that back up to the stage again. So what did you say that TV had?
It's 7.3 milliseconds for 100% response time, but again,
120 hertz?
this is no, that's just what they're saying. That's just the pixel response time. This has nothing to do with 120 hertz. This is just the pixel response time what you get.
Right.
But again, this is from 0 to 100. So this is what we need to understand. So if you go from 50% gray to 100% gray, it probably just takes 2 milliseconds to change this, not 7 milliseconds. So that's why it's a little bit hard.
But yeah, so I'm mostly talking about gaming. Are you also with gaming as well? Or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because so let's just say you're playing Call of Duty, and you're looking around. There's the sky, there's the ground, there's characters, or there's a character running across the screen. So you're not going to just be going from like a light gray to a darker gray or whatever. You're going to have colors changing all the times and things basically changing, and those pixels have to be able to go from like the sky to the ground to the character in like very small amounts of time. And so if you're looking at TVs and they're saying its pixel response time is higher than 8.3 milliseconds, then that's a really good indication in game mode you're going to have a suboptimal experience. So
I mean, I agree, because at some point it doesn't make sense to have a higher refresh rate, because what does it change?
Precisely, because I did hear a rumor, maybe someone in the chat can say, but I remember hearing rumors about the G5 was going to up their refresh rate from 144 hertz to something else next year. I remember 165, right? So that makes sense for an OLED. OLEDs can keep up because the pixel response time is fast enough. But remember I said in the last chat, live stream, 2024 was the year of 144 hertz. It was the OLEDs came out. Oh man, the G4's coming out. It's got MLA version 2 over the G3, and it does 144 hertz. Big deal, at least for me. But now all these budget LCD TVs, $2,000, 98-inch, they're doing 144 hertz. So that's why I kind of thought, well, man, what kind of quality are we getting HDR and pixel response times at those refresh rates? So does that make sense? So it's like there's no point throwing an LCD panel 144 hertz if the pixel response times aren't there to basically keep that picture clear. So anyway, I hopefully
that's a good topic actually. But there's also things we need to then to consider. We have IPS panel types which are much faster. TN is also much faster than VA, but VA is most common in TVs because it offers the best colors and stuff like that and viewing angles. But I know VA can introduce a lot of issues with fast motion.
Yeah. So hopefully I've kind of opened a few people's eyes and maybe got people thinking about things they hadn't thought of, because when you go to buy that, if you're not buying an OLED, when you go to buy that next LCD TV that has 120, 144 hertz refresh rates, maybe do some digging and see if you can find out what the pixel response times are. Because if you are a gamer, you want to know, okay, is it going to be smearing and blurring? Because I had the Samsung QN900A, the first Neo QLED 8K, when that first came out in 2021. 85-inch, cost as much as a car, and it was a piece of crap. It failed, it's gone. But I remember playing 120 FPS gaming on that, how blurry and smeary that experience was, particularly with COD. Like if you're playing games like, something slow where you're running around, buttery smooth.
Chess.
But fast twitch games where you need to so anyway, I'll let you guys move on, but it was something I really dug into. And if you guys do have access to ChatGPT, it is free.
So Ashtor is saying Samsung mini LEDs are trash in game mode. Look, I had the QN95B for 4 months, and then I sold it, and then I got the S95C, and it was, there's there's no comparison. It was really bright, this TV in HDR, but that's it. Okay, that's it. Really, in terms of the local dimming, game mode was even reduced the local dimming effect, so it was really not nice. And comparing this to an OLED TV, it was probably back then the flagship, in terms of local dimming, but against my CX or the G2, it didn't have a chance. No, never ever, unfortunately.
Hey Marcus, is any chance you could do you think is KG online by any chance?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Okay, I didn't know if you have if you text him. I would love to pick his brain about this, but if he doesn't reply, that's fine. But something I've been really digging deep into. But here is a question. So old mate said, can gaming tech share his nudes? I mean S95C HDR console settings, BT 2020 settings, color, etc.
Look, so I can do this, but do me the favor and just because I got the settings from Glassy. Those are not my settings. That's why I would actually recommend. Just give me a second. Where's his channel? Why can't I find it? I would recommend actually do me the favor, go to his channel and look for the S95C, and he is sharing actually the settings on his channel, and just give him a like and share and whatever.
Yeah, he does good stuff. Check his channel out for sure.
Absolutely. And he's very, very detailed and very, very technical. That's what I like.
Yeah, that's why I'd love to just see if he can add anything to that, what I was mentioning before, because I find it very interesting. Because I had probably the highest end LCD TV you could get at the time, and it was a smeary mess. So that's why I'm like, man, how can these cheaper brand TVs be any better? But I could be wrong.
But so in general, to get you started, because that's the easiest way, use BT 2020 in the gaming mode and reduce the color settings to 18. Okay, 18. Okay, and then check out his channel, because he actually sent me all his CMS, to change for movie and filmmaker mode and whatsoever. And you just need to decide if you like it, because he has a 65-inch or 77-inch, so it's not fitting exactly the 65-inch panel. Okay, but the easiest way, BT 2020, reduce color to 18. Okay, this one here, a mid-range OLED or flagship mini LED QLED.
Oh, come
OLED.
on, man!
Always OLED. I don't care. Even you buy an OLED from Aldi, it's better than the best Q. Sorry for that. It is better. You know what I mean? That's how it is.
Yeah. He's right. He's right. Look, I for me, we actually discuss it in part 2 of Marcus and our collaboration that's coming out next week, where we compare basically the budget winner against the G4. And for me, a mid-range OLED, you have to understand the panel does all the heavy lifting. Like the OLED panel, because you get individual self-emissive pixels. It's basically like a quadrillion billion dimming zones. You just can't beat that. So it's like, that's why I was saying the panel technology does all the heavy lifting. It's basically the processor that they put behind it that kind of creates the differences. But yeah, once you go OLED, just be mindful. Once you go OLED, you just can't go back. So just something to keep in mind.
So this comment, when I watch TV shows, and if something moves too fast, there are some small blur around objects, especially humans. I thought it was just a show, so you should drink less. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. No, but look. We need to.
I think he's referring to the pixel response comments.
Absolutely. But we need to be careful here because you don't know how the content was filmed or recorded. You know what I mean? It can be also already in the content or in the source, and then your TV can it make even worse. Okay. So that's why you need to use reference material. And I'm not talking about HDR, and I'm not talking about YouTube. And reference material, really, you need to buy a professional Blu-ray with testing stuff on it to actually test things, okay?
But yeah, it's good to know. The more you know, the better. As I said, you should always dig deep. And that's his follow-up comment. Good live stream today. I learned a lot about my TV. Yeah, so I think he was maybe the one who mentioned he got the 98-inch earlier. I could be wrong.
I think so.
But yeah, it's just good to know these things. You know what I mean? I've had other people I know I play Xbox with. Oh man, I got this TV. It does 120 hertz, and like they actually said, like, oh, sometimes like in COD it looks a bit blurry, and then I dig a bit deeper, and it's like, yeah, they got a budget entry level TV that does support 120 hertz and does support HDR. And the first thing I do is like, I'll turn off HDR, and they're like, oh man, it looks so much better. So that's when I started to dig into the pixel response times. But another question for you, Marcus.
Yeah, okay. On your LG G4, when connected to PlayStation 5, does your TV menu lag when you enable 444? So I haven't tested this actually. To be very honest, I haven't tested this. I know we have now a 444 pass-through option, which is good, but
that's PC mode, right?
Yes, that's PC mode. Yeah, so that's PC mode actually to get the best out of. So you can use the game mode as far as I understand, but you use also on top the 444 pass-through, which then gives you a better picture.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that? Because I've seen some videos with Vincent Teo talking about it, and he was always like, yeah, go into the LG settings, enable PC mode, and then you get 444 chroma, and I think it gives you a bit better color or something like that. But I think when you do that, it does disable some of the gaming mode processing or features that are available.
So that's why probably they have now this option because the PC mode is look, I'm using the PC mode with my PC, and I'm happy with these. So it's fine on the G2, CX, or whatever. PC mode nowadays you can use without any problem. Okay. So, but as soon I'm playing or I'm using my Xbox or PlayStation 5, I'm using the game mode, and the game mode is usually just 422. So it's not full RGB or full chroma. Okay. But there is literally. There's no problem, okay, to do that, okay. But of course, always getting the best quality is the best what you like to have. So using 444, go for it. But again, as soon as you use HDR or 120 hertz on a PlayStation 5, you don't have full chroma or full RGB anymore. So it's pointless. You know what I mean?
Bother.
I wouldn't bother. So I'm using actually YCPCR 444 on my PC, not RGB. Okay, just because I know that, or I think that's still the case, that LG is using just YCPCR processing internally, not RGB.
Yeah, and just a follow-up question from Habibua, do we need to use 444 in console gaming? I mean, can we notice the difference? I've used it. I haven't noticed the difference, and I just went back to what the TV was wanting me to use, and I'm very happy with that. So I would say no. And Protein Milk said yes, it was him, the 98-inch TCL TV. Congratulations, 98 inches, man. You are living the dream. Yeah, bigger is better, man. I believe me. So
that's what she said.
We have another question here. So Freedom 63, I have actually a GX, an LG G10 from 2020. It's worth upgrade to, I think you're saying, is it worth an upgrade to an S90D QD panel or a C4? Just pay $400 on top. I can't decide which one is better. Just watch movies. Okay. No gaming, just movies.
The S90D smokes the C4. That's how it is in terms of brightness and stuff like that. But if it is really better, that's a big question, because with the C4 you get Dolby Vision, and that's for movies. If you watch Netflix, that's a big plus. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't think that you will ever notice a difference between HDR10 and Dolby Vision if you don't have something to compare. But if you just watch movies, I would probably go with the LG because of all.
Yeah.
That's
I
how it is.
probably would too. I remember watching a ratings review of the C4, and they were saying game mode is particularly dark on the C4, but they said if you're not watching games, the C4 is actually a very competitive TV for its price range. So if you're with an LG and you're happy with LG, I'd stick with LG. But yeah, man, I don't think either one you will be disappointed with.
No, absolutely not. So what did set? So at some point we need to test Sony as well. I never tested
That's
Sony.
True. I'm not going to pay the Sony tax, man.
No. Enough that I pay LG tax, But
Yeah.
no, but yeah, he's right. I mean, I would like to see it, but if it is really in terms of gaming the best TV, I doubt it actually.
So the Z95A, so Starvox, you want the best picture, game mode, game bar, best looking movies, the Z95A is the way to go. I haven't used it. I don't know much about it, but I'm assuming he's referring to the Panasonic Z95A, which uses a OLED panel with MLA, which is obviously from LG. So I would dare say they would probably be using the GeForce panel.
Probably.
I can't speak to the processing, but man, everything I've seen is the G4 is the processor of 2024. So, yeah, I don't know if that's one's better or worse, but yeah, moving on. Do you use YBCR 444 limited on PC inside NVIDIA control panel? Is it better than RGB full, Marcus?
No, it's not. It's just because I'm using this PC and monitor for a lot of editing, recording, and stuff like that. And all when it comes to recording, at the end it ended up with YCPCR. I just like to have the whole chain actually YCPCR. If it makes sense, probably not. Just stick with RGB. Just stick with RGB. If you're not doing any special things like I do, stick with RGB. That's how it is. RGB full for PC, yes. RGB full. RGB limited for PlayStation, okay, and Xbox.
Hey, Marcus, actually, can you answer a question I don't understand? On the Xbox Series consoles, there is an option to change to, well, there's obviously the bit. I think there's 8, 10, and 12 bit. And then there is the RGB color space.
Yeah.
I've never played with any of them. I believe I just set it to 10-bit and then the default color space. But maybe you can tell me, is there any correct settings? Because I think all of our panels are 10-bit panels at the moment. But do you ever manipulate those settings? Is there anything you can tell me about those settings?
No. So usually, I'm not sure if it's an advantage to change it actually to 10-bit because so HDR is 10-bit anyway, so the Xbox would change anyway to 10-bit automatically, but SDR is always 8-bit. So I'm not sure if it's now an advantage if you use 10-bit instead of 8-bit. Can be not. But I would strongly not recommend to change the color space setting from standard to PC. Don't do this. Leave it on standard because all what this is doing is changing from limited to full. And also the Xbox can also, I don't think the Xbox can also provide in 4K 120 HDR RGB full. It doesn't work probably, or it will probably reduce it also to YCPCR, and then you have a problem.
So why do they include that option? Is it specifically for using PC displays with the Xbox? Is that what it's for? Because I never really understood that.
Yes. I have some displays. I found the Xbox in particular is a little bit tricky, because not all the displays understanding limited. They're expecting full. Okay. It doesn't matter if it's YCPCR or RGB, that they don't know what's coming in. It's just looking at full and limited, and then you have a problem. That's why you can change it. But usually with TVs, always use limited. Always. There's no. Don't even bother with full. Okay, you just run in problems. That's not good. What is Sony tax? Sony tax is extra price for brand value. Correct.
Yeah,
That's the Sony
it's like
tax.
every year LG, Samsung, and Sony release or so far they release all their flagship OLEDs, and usually Samsung and LG are around the same, and then Sony just has this tax on top of all their TVs, and yeah, a lot of people call it the Sony tax. I don't think it's particularly worth it, but yeah. Comment from old mates.
Thanks for the stream, guys. OLED is king. Absolutely. It will be until something.
It's hard, man, because you know what? If you say something's good too much, people then accuse you of being like, you know, one blindsided or one-sided, and it's like, and again, I'm sorry to keep promoting our video, but if you haven't seen the video Marcus and I did, please go to my channel, check it out. Marcus and I'll just say that we basically bought 3 LCD TVs, put them side by side, played games, had a whole bunch of fun. And it's just like for part 2 of the video, we took the winner of the 3 TVs and put it next to the G4. The video hasn't come out yet, so I won't go into it, but I'm pretty sure you know what the result is. But OLED is king. It's just there is nothing out there. And the problem is once you go to OLED, you cannot go back because everything just looks like dog water after that. So
correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's how it is. Yeah. Yeah. So, an hour already, Adam.
Yeah, geez, it's like coming through quick. Yeah. Okay, so we have a comment. So thank you, Ash Tier, for following up with that. So according to Vinny Teo, the ideal was to leave it at 8 bits. The console automatically switches to 10 bits for HDR and does not convert to 10-bit if it is SDR. So okay, you're kind of pretty much on the spot there, Marcus. Basically, just leave it in the default settings and just let it be.
I don't know what is better, you know. If the I don't know, probably no difference at all. You know what I mean? And 12-bit doesn't make any sense because we have not a single 12-bit panel out there.
Here's one for you, Marcus.
Here in Germany, came out an S9 AED, same design OCB, look like the S95D. It's a special version, just Amazon sells it. Okay, some says the model gets 200, 300 nits brighter than a normal S90D. So I heard about one Samsung S90D or S95D where you have a different coding, you know, like very similar to the old LG TVs. You know, so that's what I heard. But if this model gets 200, 300 nits brighter, I don't know.
Interesting.
That's a very good advice. Push the like button, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate
another
that.
One. Hello, guys. Love the content and constant live stream. Yeah, you're very welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Really, really great. It's next.
So, Habibir, sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. So, Marcus, what is next for OLED? Which OLED tech companies are pushing into it, or are they saying what OLED tech companies are pushing into MLA or QD-OLED or something else? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. You know, I'm still, you know, QD-OLED will improve over the time as WOLED did. The G5 don't expect too much, in my opinion. You know, we're getting 165 hertz refresh rate, which is, it's not a game changer, not at all. No, it's just a little bit step up. We're getting, of course, a little bit more brighter panel for sure. But at some point, the question is how bright can WOLED go before you really lose color saturation? QD-OLED is just, they need... So if Samsung really sort out their stupid OS and the issues with when you connect consoles and whatsoever, it's a bad out-of-the-box experience, Samsung. Okay, so literally you put in the LG G4, you connect your PlayStation, you turn it on, and that's it. You don't need to worry about it. You can do the same with the Samsung, but you don't have the same experience in terms of picture. You like to change something. This is not set correct and whatsoever. It's not the same. But I don't know what comes next, really.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. So I actually was sharing a Reddit article I found with Marcus. So basically, someone has identified some indicators of the G5 and the Samsung, was it S95 E? I'm guessing
Okay.
E's the next year. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you looked at that. I sent you the link to that. But it appears that the QD OLED is going to be an 83-inch panel possibly next year. Or did I? And so in terms of my issue is like I prefer LG over Samsung. I've had very bad experience with Samsung. I wish LG would go into QD OLED. It just seems like the better tech at this stage in time. It appears that LG kind of has better processing. They seem to have their HDMI CEC down really well. I think if Samsung didn't have QD OLED, they would really be far behind now. I think that technology is really holding the brand up. In terms of the G5, it's like you've just got to look at history. Like every year, it's basically brightness, refresh rate, and processor.
Yeah.
So the G3 was a really good TV, and the G4 was basically just dialed it up to 11. The same formula. They better processor, more brightness, and they went from 120 to 144. For me, and I'd assume most people buying large displays from LG are basically gamers. I don't know. I would love to know the percentage of people hooking PCs up. Maybe I'm wrong, but for most console gamers, we don't care about anything over 120 hertz. So, it's
not really at the moment,
it's very interesting to see. So I don't see LG having much to bring to the table. In my opinion, if Samsung can bring a QD OLED panel next year to an 83-inch size, that will really rock LG, because you can't deny a big 83-inch QD OLED. So
yeah,
it's hard to see what will be happening.
Yeah, it will fit here. Who needs a wall anyway?
I know, man.
Anyway, so this one here, I finally got the C9 panel replaced. I took quick measurements out of the box, and with warm 2, I get 570 nits and cold 604 nits. Look like more B9 numbers. Yes, absolutely. So I remember that the C9 was actually brighter than the CX. Okay,
That's
slightly,
true.
not by far, but this doesn't sound right, to be very honest. And it's interesting that they still have a C9 panel lying around, or even a B9 panel. You know what I mean? So,
he just got it replaced. So do you mind if you follow up on that comment? Yeah. When did you buy that C9, and when did you get that panel replaced? Because the reason why I ask is I've got the 83-inch C1 with dead pixels. I have extended warranty on it, and I'm actually holding out just before the extended warranty fails, because they don't actually warranty burn-in, but they do warranty dead pixels. So I'm hoping if I wait long enough, there won't be any replacement panels for the C1, and I can get my money back and buy a new OLED. But geez, replacing a C9 panel.
So where are you from, actually? Is this US or Australia then?
Geez, that's interesting, 2019. 5 years.
5-6 years old TV.
6 years, yeah.
And you get your panel replaced. So was it under warranty, or did you have to pay, or?
Yeah,
because this is interesting. Let's do this first. I have a C7. Can you explain why I get more color banding on PS5 in PC mode? Game mode is just too dark in game mode. So there's different processing behind. So game mode, because it enables the 444 processing, or pass-through, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe there's less picture processing that you can actually use this feature. That's why you get probably more banding. I made at some point a very interesting video about color banding when I had my CX, and I found actually that I can't remember actually what exactly, but I'm pretty sure the PC mode was the worst. And I tried it actually when I set the PlayStation 5 to 420, I had less color banding. And I'm not quite sure what the reason is, but this was the outcome. I would need to watch the video again to really understand what I tested, but it was really interesting. in terms of color bending.
Yeah, geez, the C7's getting old. See, someone in that situation with a C7, man, I would actually say, man, it's probably time to do an upgrade. I always say you need a good 5 years to justify upgrading an OLED. You're there, man. If you do have the cash, man, maybe it's time to chuck that in a spare bedroom and go and enjoy a cheap G4 on the way out at the end of the year.
Yeah, that's what I did. So many people told me, don't buy a G4, the G5 is coming. Blah, blah. Yeah, but I would pay twice as much. So for what?
Yeah.
You
pay twice as much for 5% extra.
Yeah, so it's up to you. You know what I mean? So I'm going now with so of course, if there's something brand new, like a day change at the game changer thing, of course I would try to buy this. But it's most likely not happening with the G5. For sure not happening. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's how it is.
Actually,
what is tandem OLED? What is tandem OLED?
Oh, man, I can't even talk to that. I know what he's talking about. I don't know enough about it to comment, but I think it was something Apple was implementing in their new iPad. So it's basically a dual layer OLED to implement more brightness and all that stuff. And yeah, I definitely agree. OLED is not going to happen in the short term. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly share something just to show people. So is this coming up? So if you guys want to check this out, so it looks like there's a discussion going on Reddit at the moment, and they seem to have found some of the QD OLED for next year and the G5 information, but basically you can kind of see that I think they have to start listing their TVs. So that's supposed to be the G5, and then this is that's LG again. And then they're showing here I'm not sure how legible these are. These are the QD OLED. So the QE83S95F, QE83S95. So yeah, there's all these variables.
Just skipping E, really. Okay.
So it looks like we might have an 83-inch QD OLED, but it does say, here we go, spotted. They got a protective film on their surface, so don't get confused. Okay, maybe I was wrong. QE83S95. Okay, yes. So there is a S95F with a QD OLED. So they will have an 83-inch variation, Samsung, with a QD and a W OLED panel.
Oh my God, this is
the drama continues. So
this is So, I mean, if they're not marking this clearly on the box, and if there's no price difference, so here in Australia, you just give it back without any problem, because consumer law is very clear. If you like to buy this and you're getting something so you give it back. Yeah. But how can they do this? This is such a big difference.
I know. It seems very deceptive.
In this size.
So this looks like, this is the OLED 65G5. So you can see a image of that. Looks like it has the same glossy panel. If we go over here, we have, so that's the G5. Then we have the OLED 55-inch C5 there. And then that's the image of the C5. So to me, does the C5 and the G5, see the G5 looks a little bit darker. It could just be the shot. But the C5 looks like it doesn't have the same kind of coating on it. But hopefully that gives people information. You can find it. So, man, the 83-inch QD OLED, I think that'll be a real winner next year. I think that was what was holding them back.
Absolutely. Can you imagine maybe with 2000 nits peak brightness, 83-inch?
Maybe. Okay. The only thing that sucks, it's got a Samsung badge on it, man. I'm just so dirty with Samsung.
I know. Now that they need to sort out a couple of things, you know what I mean? With the One Connect box, the One Connect box is not good at all. Full stop. There's no doubt about that. The software, so it's getting better, but it's just
I'll tell you another thing I'm having a problem with. In 2 of my bedrooms, I have the Samsung Frame TVs. Are you familiar with the Frame TVs?
Not familiar, no.
It's not anything particularly special. They're just kind of these really thin profile decorative TVs. You can buy these kind of clip-on bezels for the tops and the sides, like wood grain, to make it look like it's like a picture, like art. And when you turn the TV off, it has something called an ambient art mode. So the TV will basically turn off, but there'll be kind of like a very realistic piece of artwork there, and you can kind of leave it on all day, and it's supposed to look like a photo frame. My problem is I have two of them in the bedrooms, and I have Apple TVs connected to them. And believe it or not, and I've spent countless days and hours doing research on this, when you enable HDMI CEC, when you turn off, say, the Apple TV or a device, that is supposed to send the signal to turn off the TV. The Samsung frames do not do that. They don't turn off the TV. They go straight into art mode. So every time you turn the TV off, you have to turn off the Apple TV and then pick up the Samsung remote and then turn off the art mode. There is no way around it. There are thousands of forum posts online of the same people complaining about the same thing. There is no way to disable it. Absolute piece of S. I'm so anti-Samsung.
Yeah, no. Okay, then better you're not getting on QD OLED. But you never know. You know what I mean? They're improving, you know.
Never say never.
The first QD OLED was terrible. You know, that they and we need to understand, so the Samsung display is something else than Samsung TV or Samsung electronics. So they are different. You know, Samsung display is doing a fantastic job, absolutely mind-blowing. And then Samsung electronics saying, yeah, let's do this. No, it's not good.
But anyway, then if Sony could get their act together with their chips, so they could get HDMI 2.1 done correctly.
That's a different, yeah. That's why I'm not getting it. Now I remember why I'm not getting a Sony. See?
Yeah, but that's what I mean. See, that's why LG is just like the winner right now. If Samsung Display sold QD panels to Sony and Sony could get their 2.1 stuff correct, I would jump to Sony. But yeah, we can't have it all, can we?
No. Oh, but by the way, who's from Germany? So that's not beer, of course. It's water because it's so bloody hot today. So, but you know, this is from my hometown, Weinstefan. Oldest brewery in the world, okay? Yes, I was born and raised there. Anyway, so this one here, he bought this TV, the C9, 5 years ago, or 2019, with 5 years extended warranty, and it replaced for free from Germany. Germany is great. They said if it would have been burned in, I had to pay, but because it was that pixel, was under warranty. Yeah, great, actually. Not bad, but you know, they're replacing this. Just give him a G4.
Man, I can't believe they have C9 panels sitting around. That is amazing.
Yeah, this is just, anyway. So last final questions for this stream. This one here, or really this like Samsung are for this W OLED and QD OLED move here. This is not nice. I would like to, when I buy a TV, I need to QD OLED or W OLED. This needs to be on a packaging and also in the description. And it can't be the same price. QD OLED is cheaper than W OLED, usually. But because it's the same brand, maybe not. But
yeah, I have a Samsung fridge, one of those new ones with the big TV screen built into the fridge.
QD OLED.
Oh, man. And I've had nothing but trouble with it. I've got Samsung soundbars on most of my TVs. I've had nothing but trouble with them. My Samsung TV that cost more than a car failed and was a nightmare. And Samsung basically took me to the end of my patience to replace it, like months. TV off, TV on, replace this, replace that, you know, and it was just, I'm just so frustrated with Samsung. I just can't justify giving them any more money. So, and I'm hearing a lot of that from a lot of people.
Yeah. So last one for today. Does OLED TVs have any expiry thing? I mean, after many hours of playback, can OLED pixel get dimmer? That, yes, absolutely, as any other TV as well. But I don't know. Do we have actually some reference? I mean, this would be also check out RThings. The website RThings, and I'm pretty sure they're doing long time test. But the thing is, because OLED TVs, so since when are they running? What was the first OLED TV? Seriously, I don't know.
Geez, yeah. I remember Samsung were doing OLEDs, and then they were just burning in like crazy, and they dropped it all together. And that was years ago, very long time ago.
So yes,
yeah, in answer to your question, like, yes, but that goes for all TVs. Like LCD TVs, you will still get faulty backlights and things like that. And TVs are made in, most things these days are made in such a way where they're not repairable. It's cheaper for them to just throw it out and do a new one. Like, it's just so disposable. So, but yeah, over time your OLED will slowly dim. That's just the nature of OLEDs. But you know, you're seeing people in this chat with 5-year-old OLEDs that are, you know, getting panels replaced. So, you know, I think you can expect a solid 5 years before you have any issues.
Yeah, for sure. At least, you know what I mean. No problems at all. You know, so he got a 65-inch G2 as well. Perfect, great TV, and yeah, that's it. And he got this for replacement for free because of warranty. The C9. That's absolutely fantastic.
Congrats. That's fantastic.
Have a great day, guys. Yeah, you too. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
joining.
Thank you. Yeah.
And this one here, Artings pronounced ratings, yeah, but it's spelled Artings as you did. But they really test them in hardcore scenarios. Yeah, I know. But I would like to know actually when they actually seeing some differences. You know what I mean? I know that they're testing this like crazy with NTV logo or whatsoever, CNN logo, and the burning ink like crazy. I mean, obviously. But I think they did the same with LCDs and they had burn in, huh? So
yeah.
Anyway, that's the last one. Awesome stream. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. What did we learn? Do you have the link? Sorry, I tried to copy that. Do you have the link to our video? If we can just pop that in at the end.
Just hang on.
But yeah, so for those of you who haven't seen it, Marcus and I caught up in real life, believe it or not, and we made a couple of videos. So the first one has come out. If you guys are interested in, I would really appreciate it if you would come across and say hello on my channel and check out that video. Marcus has just posted the link in the chat. We had an awesome time doing it. Yeah, we went to the shops together, bought some TVs, did some testing, and we're going to do more. I think I've kind of convinced Marcus to come back again, and we're going to do some more videos. So, we just had such a good time, and, you know, from what people have responded to it, it's been really positive. So, we're going to continue to do that and do a lot more. But, thank you everyone for joining us here this evening. We love just talking tech and answering questions, and we don't know, I can speak for myself. I don't always get them right. So hopefully some of the stuff I've said has helped some people this evening. But thank you very much from me and from you, Marcus.
Thank you very much, as always. So I'm right now working on Warhammer Dark Tide, which was just released for the PlayStation 5 and Pro. It's already available for the Xbox maybe for a year or even longer. And I'm doing some comparison, as always. There's no HDR, okay?
Yeah,
no HDR.
Shocking.
Anyway, okay, no worries. Okay, that's it for today. See you guys next time, huh?
Thank you, everyone. See you next time.